Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to CRL for more racing action here in this 18-minute qualifier session. My name is Indigo, and I got a special guest alongside me tonight. His name is Milan Langer. Hoe gaat het, mate?
Dankjewel, het gaat goed and I'm very excited to be here to have another opportunity to commentate with you again. It went very great last time out and let's hope to make it another special show this time around. New league for me, new driver, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, he should be, because we got a big championship fight ahead of us with Bosch Evans winning his first race since it's actually his first win in this league. So Bosch Evans there, congratulations for his first win. I wasn't there to commentate because I don't know where I was at the time, but thank you, Tony. Thank you, Glowstick. Glowstick, my usual co-commentator, unfortunately is ill, so get well soon, Tony. And the other way around. Sorry, Glowstick is my co-commentator. He is ill. And Tony, the one I'm going to go-karting with on Manchester, hopefully on Thursday. So see you there, Tony. And he's also got a league race there too. This week, on Thursday, we'll see how he does the Mexican Grand Prix. But first of all, in Div 2, the main people to keep an eye out, actually, is the likes of Phoenix, Bosch Evans, Harry Palmer. We've got Hobbsy as well, 4-star. All those drivers keep an eye on as well, because they've got some great potential pace. I know Bosch Evans stated that he's going for a championship this season. He believes he's got the courage and the pace to try and go for the championship. I know that ACC is where he's been driving the most, and he enjoys the game thoroughly. But ever since he returned to F1 on this game, he has picked up the pace and has been a force to be reckoned with. Same with Phoenix as well, because Phoenix hasn't league raced since 2022. And since the beginning of the season, he has put on a really good show as the Ferrari driver. He won and dominated the Singapore Grand Prix. He's had a few Grand Prix before this season, but sometimes hasn't gone his way. We'll see what happens here in Mexico, of course. And we're going to go on board with the first driver. I believe it's a Mercedes. I'll be rather the Scotsman. Then here he is with the Mercedes on board with the DRS as he makes his way down this long straight here. And starting on pole is not necessarily the best place to be, because you get a massive slipstream all the way from the light start all the way down towards turn 1. You'll be very careful as well. So the pole is not always the best place to start, or depends how you can defend it. Carlos Sainz got jumped by Max Verstappen last year, and then Carlos Sainz retook the lead of the Grand Prix immediately, as here comes Birabi now sweeping his way through these slow speed corners at the exit of Sector 1, coming towards turn 6 and turn 7, sweeping through in third gear before we apply the throttle once again. Nice rotation there for Birabi as he gets his way down towards turn 7, downshift into fifth gear. Be very careful with the curves here, because he can throw the car off balance. You be very careful with the curve usage as we make our way now, flicking our way through these fast speed corners in the S's before we make our way down towards the end of the middle sector there. For we big coming towards turn 11 now before we head down towards the stadium section. You can be very careful too, especially because the tyres get very hot at the stage, so you can be very careful how you push the car through these slow speed corners. Here he is then, using every single bit of overtake he has left as he crosses the line now. It's going to be a 50.3, and that's the benchmark to beat.
Alright, lap time, then the focus really is on Harry Palmer, and the Alpine is going much quicker through sectors 1 and sector 2 as he now rounds the final corner. And I'm sure he's going to be able to get underneath that time, and he sure is with a 1:14.6, already 7/10 ahead of the Mercedes driver, and Red Bull slots into P3 as well. So the first lap times slowly started to get onto the board here.
I know that Harry Palmer is searching for something around here in Cone, because he's been very unlucky in the last few races. That Monza hasn't gone his way. Neither has the Singapore Grand Prix, but he came into contact with the Polish driver. That's his actual name, by the way, on PSN. 3-4 goes up into P4. The Polishman is not here. I can't remember his name is Bean, by the way. He switched from PlayStation to PC, so if you do see someone called Bean, that's the Polish bird. He was known all those years ago. Tobes goes up into P3, as is now P1-2, as Bosch Evans now goes quickest with a 14.3. I've heard in the practice sessions that Phoenix was getting himself inside the 13s, and that is a very competitive lap time if he can do so. Here he is, then the Ferrari driver out of turn 3 with the DRS wide open, but he's backed out of it. It looks like he's only done one lap on those soft compound tyres, so I think he may have validated on his last lap or made a mistake. But however, he has backed out of it. But still plenty of time left to go for the Ferrari driver. But so far, it's Bosch Evans on pole with a 14.3 Milan.
Very good lap time indeed, and look at the gaps between the top two, 5 thousandths of a second already after the first one. It's incredibly close, and then the gap is already 3 tenths to P3. But yeah, very good lap time to start off with, 1:14.3. But I'm sure we will be able to get much quicker, maybe even get into 1:13s near the end of this qualifying session. Still quite a lot of drivers though without a lap time, so let's see what they're going to be able to do.
Indeed, there is there. So quite a lot of people down there who haven't set a lap time just yet with 6 minutes passing by. We've got Hobbs now making his way towards these S sections. Through the middle sector we go. I think we saw Oliver Behrman and Alex Albon crash there in the practice session. A very unusual crash indeed. And we saw Sebastian Vettel keep a spin there too back in 2015 when there's a double Ferrari DNF back in 2015 when the Mexican Grand Prix came back after a long hiatus. Nico Rosberg won the Grand Prix ahead of Lewis Hamilton after Rosberg lose the championship at USA the race before. Rosberg wants a winning streak of 7 in a row. As he makes his way towards the line now is P6 for Hobbsy with a 14.8. He also is a worthy contender too to watch out for. It's been a 2-week break, so even though it does feel like a long time since I've commentated, it's nice to be back here in Cone. One of the longest serving leagues I've commentated since the past 5 years, and still doing it today. Still has a special place in my heart as Cone. I'll never get bored of it, and yeah, I'm really glad that we've got this season kick-started because it's been a long wait since season 10 to season 11. Highly anticipated season, of course, season 10, but towards the end of it didn't really go our way because of the game not really suiting everybody's favour. KXI, who used to be on PS5 or PS4, sorry, depending which one he was on. He's had one win the last season, season 10. That was in Saudi Arabia, but a massive snap again for the McLaren driver as he spins the car and it validates that lap time.
And not an ideal end to your lap time there in the sector 2. The S is always very tricky. Should be flat out though on this game, but make sure to hit that curb right and stay within the track limits as well. And he unfortunately lost control over his McLaren, so he will be going back into the pit lane, I assume, to put on a new set of tires and try again in a minute or so. In the meantime, the Aston Martin of Wuban just started his lap, but he has already backed off, unfortunately, with 10 minutes on the clock. Still plenty of time to set a lap time. Sure, there's still 5 drivers down there without a lap time.
I remember a massive fight a few seasons ago here in Mexico. Harry Palmer was involved, and George Hargreaves, he used to be in Tier 2/Tier 3. He was in the Grand Prix, and in the sprint race, George Hargreaves broke his he lost his wheel. Look at that. Cars everywhere on the road in the middle sector. I presume all of them are on the in laps or out laps, but thankfully every single one got out of the way of each other. Otherwise, that could have been a 5-place grid penalty. But the big runners are coming out to play once again on this track, and we'll see, can they improve? That's a mighty lap from Bosch Evans, by the way. But watch out for Phoenix down there in P15. Watch out for Cavolis. He could also show some decent pace. A multiple-time race winner in Tier 4 as well. So watch out for him in the kick-start. I believe he's on a flying lap. His teammate is in the pit lane as we go on board with him. Ben Clark, once again, another great performance from him in the Red Bull. OWR Ben Clark, who finished 4th at the Singapore Grand Prix. Also a newcomer. There's a load of OWR drivers in another league I commentate with. But here we are. The Cavolis comes towards the end of the middle sector. A 56.7 for the Sauber driver as he collapses the curb on the way in, but still gets a decent exit as he downshifts into first gear for the extra rotation. We don't really see that on this game, really. In the older games, we usually see it. Here comes Cavonis then coming towards the line at 16 or 15.8. He puts himself into P14 ahead of the mighty Atom. We're still awaiting Felix's time, Milan.
Yeah. That leaves only one driver without a lap time, and it is Phoenix, and he, I believe, just went purple through sector 1. He's going fast as, Klurper's been disqualified from the session from driving the wrong way.
Yeah, it looks like that's the end of the middle sector. Oh, the Red Bull just gets out of the way there. That's Klurper. Yeah, that's him, who's just been disqualified. I'm not quite sure how he's managed that. But anyways, here we are, heading towards turn number 11. It's a 55.1, and Phoenix just runs out wide there. It's a tricky corner, that one, Milan.
It's always a tricky corner, especially with the track limit. You want to carry as much speed into that corner, but if you go just a little bit too wide, you go off track and barely have enough time to back out of it. So, unfortunately, in invalidation, and yeah, still the only one without a lap time, although the VE car ahead of him hasn't really set a competitive lap time either. But yeah, I believe only a few minutes left in this session, P17. He has to get a move on now.
Indeed, he does then. So we're going to go aboard with the main leaders because they're on a flying lap. Bosch Evans, unfortunately, has invalidated on his second run. AJ Wuhan is going down towards turn one. Happy birthday to his brother, by the way, who turns, I think, 30 years old. So happy birthday to his brother indeed. The main founders of CRL, AJ Wuhan and Nathan JB, who have been second and third place in Season 6 Championship. And AJ Wuhan's 2 tenths down alone in the first set. So Harry Palmer is swooping through turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3, but I presume he's just finished his lap time because he's done 2 laps on the set of soft compound tyres. So won't be any more useful, those set of soft compound tyres anymore. We can see a lot of people struggling on their next flying laps because it's such a tricky corner as well, tricky track, sorry, to get right. Plenty of invalidations, well, plenty of places you can invalidate as well, and it's just easy to slip up in general. Hobbsy, however, 1600s down in the first sector as he can make that time back up in the middle, and the last one, here we are then as he used a bit of overtake on the exit to boost his way towards the double right-hander, but the back end wants to pendulum around, and he just managed to correct the car as he heads down towards the turn 7, used a lot of curb on the entry, and turn 8, turn 9, look at the back end of the car, wanted to complain, he could be running a low downforce setup, Milan.
Yeah, if you go with 2 low downwards, you will, well, certainly notice that the backhand will have to step out. So might have got a bit wrong on the setup, although it could be a race setup as well. But certainly lost a lot of control over his car. But the Red Bull, by the way, in P4, Ben Clock is on a good lap as well, improving by almost 2 tenths now through the middle part of the lap. And he's now going into the final couple of corners. Can he move up any position on the grid? We're about to find out. Across the line. And he stays in P4 for now, but a good improvement, but not quite good enough to get him inside the top 3.
Yep, just a few hundreds shy there, Harry Palmer. Both Alpines are looking good in second and third place there. This is what Alpine need as well after disappointing last few races for the Alpine squad. Although AJ did get a podium back at the Monza Grand Prix and Singapore Grand Prix as well. So AJ's luck has finally turned around because I know he really struggled in the last few races, especially last season, 10 months ago when he got dropped down into Division 2. But so far, looking very handy indeed is AJ Wuhan. Just 5,000 shy of pole time. The top 2 hasn't improved their lap times since their first run. Basically, they have gone for second lap time, but both, I presume, have made a mistake and had to head back into pit lane. But they'll come out to play once again. KXI, however, is really struggling with the back end of the car. Just always wants to complain. Bosch Evans is out of the pit lane to start an outlap. Bosch Evans, who came to the season thinking he could be a championship contender, and even though in the first race of the season he was second place in Australia, looking to try and overtake 4-star, and he spun the final corner and he lost the podium that day. But ever since then, he's changed things around, and he's really shown that he's a worthy competitor and a driver to be forced to be reckoned with well. So can Bosch Evans keep it up and try and put that challenge of 4-star? Unfortunately, we do not have the championship standings in front of us. Phoenix, however, is on another lap time. Here he is then. Finally, for the third time of asking, can Phoenix put a lap together? He was boasted to be in time trial about how he was in the 13s and beat my lap time. But so far, Phoenix cannot put a lap time on the board. But no invalidations. Can he keep it nice and tidy coming towards the last 3 corners on the circuit? Here he is then. Phoenix gets the power down. Can he make his way towards the line in first? He can!
Wow.
What a lap time! It's a 13.7, and he replicates what he did in time trial. Sorry, what's a lap time, Milan?
That is absolutely brilliant for his first complete lap time to put in a 13.7, half a second on the rest of the field. That's absolutely amazing. What a lap that has been, with only 4 minutes on the clock. It might even be good enough for pole at this point.
It could be indeed. That's a big gap to make up for the rest of the drivers. That's 7 tenths. He dominated the Singapore Grand Prix. And Bosch Evans got a lot of work in his hands tonight to see if he can emulate that. 8 thousandths down in the first sector is Bosch Evans then, as he makes his way through the slow speed corners. Look at that, using all the track as he flicks his way into this double hander. Upshift to reduce wheel spin before we get back on the throttle. Headed down towards this fast left hander. Used a bit of curb on the entry there. Same with this one as well. Just nip on the apex there as we make our way now towards the fast speed corners. Flat out these 2 corners with the DRS wide open. Third DRS zone on this track, pretty useless, but still, we still see some overtakes on this part of the track, depending if you're close enough. Oh, I was so close there. Bosch Evans almost invalidating on that curb, just inches away from him ruining his own lap time, but keeps it nice and tidy. Can he make his way in the 13s? Is he going to be pole as he crosses the line? No, it's not. He did lose time there, didn't he, Milan, in the last sector?
Yeah, he did. He had to lift off because he went off track. So if you go off track, you know you have to lift off in order to keep your lap time legal, and that is exactly what he had to do. So I'm sure he lost about a tenth or a tenth and a half at that moment, unfortunately. But in the end, it wouldn't have been good enough for pole position anyway. But yeah, there's certainly time to find for him. But with 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock, I don't think he is going to have enough time to set another lap time unless he has enough fuel in the car. But yeah, P2 for him. I don't think it's going to get any better than that for him.
Hobbs, makes his way down towards the first 3 corners. Well, here he is then, as he gets back on top, at the back of the car, also complaining as soon as he applied the throttle, although he did wheel spin heavily out of the corner at turn 3, got the throttle way too early for the car's liking, and therefore had to back out of it. So that lap time is abandoned, but the thing is, though, for Hobbsy, he's got enough fuel to go for one more lap, plus the tyres won't be too worn out because he's only been through the first 3 corners. So that's the benefit of messing up your lap in the early stages, because sometimes messing up your lap in the middle and last sector can really put you at a disadvantage because A, you don't have time to go to the pit lane, and B, can't recharge the ERS in time. That was a big factor back in 2023 when people have validated towards the last stages. So Hobbsy then just recharging his battery, cool the tyres down, and go for another push lap. Now, back on board with Harry Palmer, 2 tenths up in the first sector. That's a good improvement there from the Alpine driver. I see, that's a massive snap out of turn 6 there. The back end of the car, tail happy as he makes his way down towards the S section. Another driver who has been racing on ATC quite a lot. We've got quite a few people racing on ATC, including Harry Palmer, Bosch Evans, Phoenix, AJ Wuhan, I'm pretty sure many others as well, as he makes his way down towards the end of the middle sector. That is 3 tenths up. This couple has been to P2 as the car just shaking a bit, going towards turn 11 there as he goes towards 12, 13. These slow speed annoying corners where it's so easy to catch people out. Before we make our way towards the final 2 corners we go, ERS activated. He crossed the line now. He goes up into P3. It's a 14.2 from Harry Palmer. Just puts him ahead of his teammates and a few hundred shy of Bosch Evans towards the last stage of qualifying.
Yeah, good effort from Harry Palmer there up at the P3 right ahead of his teammate, but we've seen a lot of drivers struggling with the rear end, so it might just not only be the setup, but actually maybe the track is quite green out there, because we've seen a lot of drivers getting caught out by the grip levels, but maybe the track will get a bit better towards the end of the session. 30 seconds left on the clock. Almost everyone is right there, right out there to try and improve for their final laps.
Who can improve the top 2?
Phoenix. Phoenix is retiring from the session. He thinks his lap time is going to be enough. Is he going to pull a Sebastian Vettel and get pole position from the pit lane?
Sebastian Vettel, 2013, the Singapore Grand Prix, where he took pole and nobody could beat him. So he's in the pit lane. Bosch Evans, we know he just completed the lap time. He's in the pit lane, so it's down to other people, P3 downwards, to determine who can get pole here in Mexico. AJ coming towards the first sets now. He's 200 sub, used a lot of curve as well in both corners in turn 3 and turn 4. No signs of the car stepping out. KXI, Kalen goes up into P6. That's a mega result. It's a 14.6 there. From the McLaren driver, just puts himself ahead of 3-4 before we make our way now towards this fast right-hander and left-hander towards AJ as he makes his way towards the end of the middle sector. Is this going to be a improvement for AJ? Sorry, I'm a bit ill, by the way, so my voice is going. Wrong time to be ill, but it is winter, so you can excuse me for that one. As here we are then coming towards the stadium section now, as AJ got left anything in the tank in the final sector to try and catapult him up towards P2 at least. Ben Clark separates both Alpines. Here comes AJ towards the line. It's going to be P5 still. 3 tenths down on his final run, and that's qualifying done for him. Free fall is not on a lap time. 4-star is threading the needle through the middle sector in those corners as he makes his way now towards the end of the middle sector. 1400s down. His 4-star, can he improve or not? He's currently in P9, is the championship leader. His 4-star, not looking good for him so far. His nearest competitor is in P2. But can 4-star try and put himself along the order to get closer? Big snap of oversteer as he gets on the throttle. It's only P9 for 4-star as he takes the checkered flag and stays where he is, Milan.
Yeah, unfortunately not able to improve, but that was the end of qualifying then, and it's Phoenix who gets pole position. He only needed 1 lap. Look at the margin, 4.5 tenths. What a lap from him to put him on pole position, but is that where you want to be on the grid though?
That's a very interesting question. Maybe P3 and P4 could be the best place to start. We'll find out as they make their way down towards turn 1 very shortly. But here is the running order, the pecking order for this race. Phoenix on pole ahead of Bosch Evans, Harry Palmer in third ahead of Ben Clock, AJ Wuhan P5 ahead of KXI, great qualifying from KXI as well as return to F1, 347 ahead of Tobes, 4-star 9th ahead of Hobbsy, Shaggy, Diddy, Weerabi, Cavolis, Ruban, Mighty Atom, AFL, Claire PR, who got disqualified by facing in the wrong direction, and that was his qualifying done prematurely. And now we're going to head towards the race to see what happens. A 36-lap race. We know that safety cars can be a big factor. Certainly experienced myself with safety cars around here. This is very annoying, but sometimes it goes your way and the pendulum swings towards the other's way, vice versa. So we'll see if the safety cars does play a factor and who will it benefit in this Grand Prix, or if it does come out indeed, because I know that the safety racing, well, I say safety racing, I know that the safety cars haven't really appeared much on this game. In CRL, so can we keep it up? We're about to find out. But Milan, are you looking forward to this race, mate?
I am definitely looking forward to this race, especially the run into turn 1. That's going to be the big thing on lap 1. Going to have maybe 3-4 guys trying to go 4 wide into turn 1. It's never going to work out, but it's always happening around here. It's such a long straight with so many opportunities. I'm certainly excited to see what is going to go on into turn 1. Is Phoenix going to be able to hold on to that lead? Well, I doubt it, because all the other cars behind him are going to have that slipstream, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see who is going to come out on top after that opening stage of this race.
We'll see what tyres people elect as well. Maybe the mediums to hard strategy is the best way to go. What tyres would you go for Milan around here? Would you go medium hard or hard medium? It's not a 2-stop for sure, we know that.
Yeah, I'll usually take the mediums, or to be honest, if I start near the back, I'll go for the hards. But medium hards is, I think, the better strategy around here, especially with that those DRS straights. You're gonna have to want to be in the DRS, and if you go out late and you have people undercutting you, will not be in the DRS train. So you will have to have some catching up to do while the other cars in front have DRS of each other. So I will take the mediums, to be honest, over the hards. But yeah, anything can happen, with the safety cars, so it's always a bit of a gamble. We'll see what they can do, but at the moment I think most of them are going to start on that medium tire. Still there?
Oh yeah, sorry, I had myself muted. I am still here. I was speaking. So what I was talking about is the previous rounds as well. Last season in Season 10, it was ILT Crack Rapid versus Indian Jesus, and what a trio battle that was as well. Plenty of great action moments as well between those 3 drivers, great battles and controversy, and all 3 of them had the different problems as well. It's a formation lap, don't worry.
Getting all excited here, but yeah, formation lap.
So, it was a wet race last time in Season 10 in Division 3. It was ILT Crack who flew away the distance. It was Rapid and Crack who flew away with DC finishing the podium. DC had a good run of podiums as well, had a consecutive run of podiums until it ended prematurely, I think, in Singapore later on. And India Jesus finished in P7 because I think he went for that one-stop strategy and unfortunately could not pay it off. In Division 2, it was it ILT? It was Hobbsy, yeah, Hobbsy. This is Hobbsy's last win, the Mexican Grand Prix. Starts down in P10. Hobbsy hasn't won since last season, round 4, at the Mexican Grand Prix as well. So we'll see what Hobbsy can do for P10. We know it's a different game, of course, a different speculation, different car module, different car handling. So completely different aspects here on this game. So it might not be the same, but only one person on the soft compound tyres. They'll regret it later on. Clear PR on a brand new set of soft compound tyres, probably hoping for an early safety car. Try and make up as many ground as he can before that safety car comes out. But those soft compound tyres will be hanging off the cliff very quickly indeed. We know that tyre wear is absolutely killer around here. I did a race around here as well, and I've commentated on this track as well. So I've got plenty of experience in Mexico. I know what the strategy is. I know what laps people should be prepared for. It's going to be very interesting to see because we've got a few people on the hard compound tyres. It's Harry Palmer, KXI, Ruben, and Mighty Atom. So both McLarens on the set of hardcore power tyres. But Milan, anything to say before the race gets going ahead?
Well, good luck to Clark PR on the softs. He is going to try and get those decisions done on the early laps and hope for a safety car. But yeah, like you said, the softs are not really working around here. Well, maybe for a few laps, but after like 5 laps or something, they already fall off the cliff. So it's going to be a tough job for him. He's going to have to hope for that safety car, but with Harry Palmer on the hards, he is going to struggle as well on the run to turn 1 with the less traction on those hards. So that is going to be interesting to see as well.
Here we are then, lined up on the grid, all 18 drivers. We had a Christmas break. It was a 2-week break. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to you all. But now we get back to league racing once again. All 18 drivers on the grid, waiting for the lights. Look up on the panels there to see when the lights are about to go out. Here we are then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are underway for the Mexican Grand Prix. A great start there for Phoenix, but Bosch Evans gets a better start, the side-by-side, as we head on the main straight then. A massive snitchy provider. Look at the Alpines in the background, ready to take advantage as we head down towards turn 1. Phoenix just has the edge, but Bosch Evans has the inside line. Around the outside goes Phoenix to maintain the lead of the Grand Prix. Bosch Evans gets a snapper oversteer there, and he almost got caught out by the 2 Alpines behind him. It's a great start so far. KXI is up to P5. They both jumped. Ben Clark, who's fallen down into P7, as now we go down towards turn 4. Here comes the McLaren, stealing the inside there, but Freefall is looking to fight back underneath him on the inside. It looks like Freefall's got a better exit. He's on the inside still as we head down towards turn 6 and turn 7. And KXI might lose another place towards Hobbsy, but he hasn't. A horrible start there for Ben Clark. He's fallen down into P8.
Yeah, clean start for everyone, good to see. It was a great start actually from AJ Huan in the Alpine. He was a bit of boxed in on the run to turn 1. Got past his teammate in the end though, and Club PR has made up 2 places from the start, but everyone's still pointing in the right direction. It's always great to see. But the biggest winner actually is Mr. Hopsey. He's got 3 places under his belt up to P7 in the Aston Martin as we now head on to lap 2.
And look at that, Phoenix is trying to put the DRS gap already against Bosch Evans. Bosch Evans is 9 tenths away from where he needs to be. Side by side on the straight is Hobbsy and Ben Clark. So Ben Clark, after losing places, here comes AJ right behind Bosch Evans. He pulls out and he will go down the inside into turn 1. Can he make it stick? How hard will these two fight, knowing that Phoenix can pull away the side by side still? And AJ eventually gets the boost done as he puts himself into P2. But those two fighting hard in turn 1 and turn 2 and 3 has cost them time and already broken DRS. That's what happened in Singapore. So Phoenix will probably pull away again and control this race while the others try and play catch up. So those two have broken the DRS there. I think it was the wise thing, Milan, to back out of it instead of trying to go side by side in the first 3 corners. Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to go side by side, try and fight it in these opening stages, you're only going to lose more time and potentially lose even more position. So backing out is definitely the way to go in these first few laps. But then again, the gap between Phoenix and AJ Woon already 1.4 before we can already control this race, while the Alpines are going to have to fight it out with the Mercedes. Harry Palmer still within the DRS range of Porsche Evans, which is a good thing as he is on those hard tires. So all he needs to do right now is stay with his teammate and the Mercedes in front until the pit window.
Phoenix says fast for the Grand Prix. He's checked out. He's pulled away. Is there any chance for the guys behind to catch up? Maybe Bosch Evans and AJ have got to trade DRS. So that means swap in front of each other when they have the DRS and try and edge yourself closer. In the background, that's almost 3 abreast the Red Bull on the grass. It's almost 4 abreast. Here we are, down towards turn 1. Where's the Red Bull? Outbroke himself. Here comes the Aston Martin. Back around the outside. He covers him off. He blocks the road. And the Red Bull stays in full. What's a move from Ben Clark from P7 to P5 as we exit the corner. Sauber has been demoted down to P7. Hobbs has got the DRS as we head down towards turn 4 now. A great move from the Red Bull driver. Outbroke himself but placed his car in the middle of the road so the guys behind could not get past again. And in the background is Cavolis and Mighty Atom scrapping away for 13th and 14th there. Spinner! It's a spinner for Mighty Atom. Did he get tagged by Claire PR, I'm thinking?
Yeah, I think he made contact with the Red Bull and maybe the Sauber as well. Cavalis has already got front wing damage as well in the heat of that moment. So he might have to come into the pit lane as well. The front left end plate of his Sauber is missing. Yeah, the Mighty Adam getting caught up into that. I think he got tagged from behind. So very unfortunate indeed. Drops him all the way down to P17.
Now Bosch Evans says fast up the Grand Prix. He did have the DRS that'll help him as well. The gap is 1.3 seconds. Is there any way for Bosch Evans to get himself back in DRS range of Phoenix? Looks like these guys will settle down now, not going for any more moves. Focused on Phoenix ahead. Phoenix trying to keep the guys out of DRS range. The gap is 1.2, so his main sole focus is not to lose focus at all, because if he does, the gap will go down under 1 second. He's got a lot of work to do. We did see in qualifying that Phoenix invalidated quite a lot, so could that be foreshadowing the race? Here comes Hobbsy up the inside on Ben Clock, up into P5 it goes. Another neat move there for the Aston Martin driver. Looks like P5 downwards have got their own scraps going on, and it's a big train from P5 down to P12 with Diddy at the back of it. On the back of this train with Claire PR in 30th place on the soft compound tyres, followed by Colophonus as well. So they've all got their mini battles going on, and it's a battle for P2 between Bosch Evans and Harry Palmer has already got a second time penalty in this Grand Prix, and that'll be a detrimental effect towards the end as well. He best hope that a safety car don't come out in the latter stages, because he's got a gap over 3 seconds of Hobbsy, so he'd be safe so far, but picking up penalties early in the Grand Prix is never a good sign, because that means you get more, because you lose focus, you lose concentration, you get frustrated, you get angry, and all sorts as well. The gap between Bosch Evans and Phoenix is 2 seconds, and here comes AJ on Bosch Evans.
Yeah, far from ideal from Harry Palmer. 3 second penalty already on lap 4. Might have been pushing a little bit too hard to try and wave with the 2 cars in front. Also saw him losing it back out coming out of the final corner, so he's desperately trying to stay with these cars, but unfortunately already a 3 second time penalty. That is going to become a very long race for him.
We got a spinner at turn 2. That's KXI going for a very weird spin. I'm not quite sure. He did not get hit by, I think it was Tobes who went through, but it was very precarious indeed. It was very weird how that happened. He broke the DRS between himself and the rest of the guys. So there's a big DRS train split already. So the trio of Ben Clark, Hobbsy, and 3-4 have been left alone. AFL gets ahead of Ruben. They're scrapping away for 30 to 14. I think there's been a bit of contact between those two there. Ruben has the inside line. He stays ahead of AFL. One's on the mediums and one's on the hards. And Bosch Evans is right behind AJ. I know these guys, by the way, personally and in real life. I know the top 4 in real life. They're all going to be in a part with each other as well, just talking about the Grand Prix. It's going to be so funny to listen to their communication as well. It's like Bosch Evans telling Jacob to try and get himself in DRS range of Phoenix and swap DRS with me. Let's try and get ourselves further along. So all these guys are on a par with each other, of course. They're all good friends, and they've known each other for such a long time. Here comes Bosch Evans, wheel to wheel with AJ, and like Martin Bundle says, taking candy from a baby as he puts himself up into P2. Remember, guys, as well, that there's only one detection point for 2 DRS zones.
Indeed, so he gets the job done, but the gap between himself and Phoenix is not going down at all. Still around 2 seconds, as Hercule Prior is already into the pit lane from those softs, as they didn't last very long, as Shaggy gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and there's yellow flags out there as well, and it's the V car of AFL who has spun in turn 1.
Yeah, the Veep car go for a spin, unfortunately, and that's going to be one of my cars on Sunday's league as I've been chosen for the RB. So, yeah, AFL unfortunately go for a spin. That's the second person I've seen that so far. And AJ looks like he's struggling now. Bosch Evans looks like he's checking out because the gap is 9/10 of a second there. So, could Bosch Evans be pushing hard on these tyres, try and get AJ out of DRS? Hunt Phoenix down himself. There's another spinner down there, and that's an RB.
Oh, it's again. AFL again.
He's having lots of luck in this Grand Prix. Is AFL, unfortunately, down into 16th place. 4-star has overtaken him. Plus, we don't know what happened to 4-star either. He's fallen down into 15th place. So a horrendous start, down 6 places there for 4-star. So we haven't really paid attention to him. But unfortunately, our championship contender is all the way down there, and this is a big chance for Bosch Evans to gain points of him on the championship after losing out the Australian Grand Prix when he spun in the final corner on the final lap, went from P2 to P5. Wee Rabbi is ahead of Tobes, puts himself up into P8. The Mercedes driver and the Haasman having their own battles there. P8 and P9. Tobes made his first appearance in Division 1 in Singapore for the first time in a long time. Hobbsy's right at the back of Ben. Here we are, down towards turn 1 between Matthew and Ben. And Ben just stays in front for the time being. There's 3-4 just waiting in the background. And there's nothing he can do about it so far. So Ben stays at P5. We're looking to try and hunt down the top 4. But the DRS has been broken. And once you're at DRS, it is so difficult to get back in DRS range. I presume you know from my experience and your experience, Milan.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when the cars in front do have the DRS, it's always very tricky to get that gap down. And by the way, coming back on 4-star, I saw him go into the pit lane at the end of lap 1, so I can imagine he must have got some sort of damage. So I think that's why he's all the way down there in P15, unfortunately.
And here comes the two Alpines, a yellow flag in the first set,
AFL
so that's an
He's lost his
RB.
front wing.
That's an RB at AFL, and the two Alpines have swapped places. He puts himself into P3 ahead of Harry Palmer. Sorry, did I get that confused? So was Harry Palmer ahead of AJ before?
He might have got that position, by the way, as AFL smashes through the boards, but I think, yeah, they must have swapped earlier on the straight then, if they swap now again. But they seem to be working together, by the way, to get back down towards Bosch Evans.
Ben has been shuffled down to P7 because 3-4 now puts himself into P6, and next target is Hobbsy. AFL picks himself up a second tablet. So both RBs are not having the best time whatsoever, and AFL makes its way back in the pit lane then to change that nose cone, back towards the top 4 then as Phoenix is there. The gap is 1.8, so it is fluctuating up and down. AJ Bosch Evans trying to keep it stable as much as he can, but the problem is he's got AJ and Harry Palmer constantly on his back all the time then, so that could be a major distraction for him, hence why he could be losing time, keeping an eye on the guys behind as well because they're so close. So here we are with the DRS once again. Harry Palmer is on the hardcore power tyres, remember, so his tyres should be a bit better than those guys in front, and here comes AJ now side by side with Bosch Evans as he puts himself into P2. These guys are swapping DRS, but they just can't seem to find a way past or get towards Phoenix. And 3-4 and Ben dispatch Hobbsy, and here comes Ben up the inside of the south, but he backs out of it, and 3-4 takes the inside line, claims it, and he stays with P5 then. That was very close between those two, but luckily Ben acknowledged it and he backed out of it.
Yeah, almost went back up the inside like he did a few laps ago, but he overshot it back down, so he must have thought might not do that again. This time he did back out and has to stay behind in P6, but good strap between these three for P5. And the gap between to the top 4 is already 8 seconds, so they just have each other right now. Freefall, Ben and Hobbsy for P5, 6 and 7.
And that was a massive snap there for AJ as he used a lot of curb go towards turn 9, I think, and he lost a bit of time towards Phoenix too, so that's 3 tenths lost in that middle set with that slight mistake there. Phoenix is keeping this nice and controlled, is the Ferrari driver, and keeping the gap manageable over the rest of the guys. The gap is 2.5. The gap has been lowered to 1.6, 1.8 multiple times, but ever since then, he's responded, picked up the pace, and AJ is under huge pressure. Look at the guys right to the back of his tail. DRS, and here comes Harry Palmer. It is 3 abreast, and Harry Palmer takes them both on, and he puts himself into P2. Bosch Evans does get ahead of AJ as he slots himself into P3 then, so that's nice manoeuvring going on there between those guys, and Ben Clark puts himself into P5. Those trio, in fact, Hobbsy drops out the DRS range, so it must have been a mistake somewhere, and Tobes is ahead. BRB puts himself up into P8, so a few changes on the main straight there. As we go back towards the leaders then, ignore the notification on the right hand side, that is Jack Tyler and Julian that want to be back at the party, and Luke as well. But here we are there. Oh, that's a big slide there from Harry Palmer, and AJ and Bosch Evans knows not to go for that one. He's too clever to go for a move side by side there.
Yeah, not great to see the Harry Palmer already struggling with the hards. Not a great side for him. He needs to go a long way on these hards, but he seems to be getting back in form right now. The gap has gone down again to Phoenix, down to around 2 seconds. So it seems to be that Harry Palmer is the quicker driver as the gap is coming down.
Yep, that's the Aston Martin who's just spun, hence why the safety car, the yellow flag came out. No safety car just yet. Safety car came out now. That would definitely ruin the likes of Harry Palmer, KXI, Mighty Atom Strategy, ruin as well, because that means he's going to have to pit on a set of medium compound tyres, and they're going to have to suffer towards the end, like I did. That's the exact same scenario happened to me as well in another league race. And here comes Bosch Evans up the inside of Harry Palmer, puts himself into P2. Nice neat move there. But I'm surprised that Harry Palmer, despite being on the hard compound tyres, as Bosch Evans gets a little bit of a twitch there, and Harry Palmer is trying to go back around the outside, but Bosch Evans does have the DRS to protect himself against the Alpine as he stays in P2. But I'm surprised that Palmer on these hard compound tyres is not really making any inroads on the guys in front, especially Phoenix there. So I think he's stuck in his sandwich. I think he's stuck in his train, and he's not able to make the progress he needs on those hard compound tyres to reduce the deficit between himself and Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we mentioned before, it's very difficult to break that DRS. Well, unless your name is Phoenix, but if you're on these hards, Palma has not been able to get that gap down. But now he's going back up the inside on a very unorthodox play to make a move, and he gets up the inside.
Oh!
And gets all out of shape on the exit though, but he has got the position. But I'm sure he will get re-overtaken on the next straight. So not sure what the thought process was behind that. He is up at the P2 though, but now let's take a look on this straight then.
Harry Palmer skirming away. Hobbs picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, and here comes Bosch Evans once again. Like you said, will be overtaken by Evans again on this straight. So Harry Palmer not really thinking about it, and they go side by side. Bosch Evans is saving battery there, as you can see the flashing light on the back of the Mercedes car. He puts himself into P2. Oh. Is that a safety car? It's a VSC, mate.
Safety car. It was CRL Woburn. He has crashed in the middle sector in the S and he's lost his front wing, so that's why the virtual safety car has come out, and it's already got the London drivers putting into the pit lane from the mediums and hards as well, to be honest. But that's why the VSC has come out here on lap 11.
Have you seen Diddy? Diddy, I'm not. Have you? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I just saw that as well.
Yeah, so a bit of a Codemasters glitch there. It is. We are on crossplay, by the way, because obviously we got guys on PC, Xbox as well, and obviously PS5 on here. So all three all three consoles being here. But the VSC has came out. I wonder, no, they won't, because the guys won't be able to pit now. So people have benefited from a cheeky pit stop and lost a little time as we continue racing once again with Harry Palmer constantly putting the pressure on Bosch Evans in front of him. His tyres should be at the best out of this lot, but I noticed as well that Harry Palmer does really struggle in mid-speed corners when he slides the car. Every time he applies the brakes, the back of the car just wanted to slide away from him. Every time he applies the throttle, the back end of the car wants to complain too. Here is the DRS again for Mr. Palmer as he puts himself in front of Bosch Evans again. Can he get towards Phoenix? If he does, he'll drag along Bosch Evans and AJ Wuhan. Will Phoenix start to feel the pressure? Here comes AJ side by side in the first corner. Bosch Evans goes deep as we head towards turn 2 and turn 3. Nice space given between those guys there. Sorry about that. I was trying to get my voice back after losing it. But the side by side again with AJ and the DRS. But with these two battling, it has broken the DRS towards Palmer. Palmer's now been released and free. AJ's done a fantastic job of breaking that DRS. He can help his teammate out, become the rear gunner in this strategy. And now Harry Palmer can chase after Phoenix. The gap is 1.2. With the hardcore power tyres on, he should be able to close that gap down with the tyre advantage at this stage to Grand Prix Milan.
Exactly, that was exactly what I needed. He got past the Mercedes and then he saw his teammate go up the inside as well, which lost both of them a lot of time. And look at the gap. In one lap, he's gone from almost 2 seconds, almost down to underneath 1 second. The pace difference is absolutely incredible right now, as the hards slowly start coming to life and the mediums are starting to drop. 1.1, 1.0 is the gap, not quite within the DRS range, but I'm sure next lap he will be.
I'm sure Bosch Evans will be furious that he's lost contact with Harry Palmer, but at the same time, fair play to AJ Wuhan, going side by side, making him lose time. I'm not quite sure if that was the intention or not, but however, it's helped him massively. Maybe significant for this Grand Prix for Harry Palmer, although he does have a 3-second penalty. Remember that one. Here comes Bosch Evans, then puts himself back up into P3 ahead of the LP drivers. So those two continue scrubbing away, P3 and P4. As you can see, they're really struggling on their old hard compound tyres. When the medium grains, they go. They wheel off dramatically. They overheat, they slide around. Whereas the hard compound tyres are so durable because the surface area of the hard compound tyre is much more larger. Therefore, it's harder to overheat the tyres, where the soft compound tyres and medium tyres, it's easy to overheat them because of the small surface area. That's why the tyres overheat so much. And tyre pressures as well, and general control of the balance of the car. Harry Palmer is under a second of Phoenix. Would my description of the tyres is accurate to what I'm saying, Milan?
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to get past quite easily, you know, with the gap's going down to 5 tenths. Look how fast he is gaining. Exactly what you said, the mediums are wearing off quite quickly then. So 5-6 tenths going into the final corner might not just be good enough to get past on this straight. Maybe on next straight or the lap after that. But this is the first time we're going to try and see an attempt for the race lead. Phoenix has been controlling this race for 15 laps, but now, after those 15 laps, we've got a competitor on our hands. Harry Palmer has closed the gap.
And also his teammate has dipped in the pit lane. He's had enough of those medium compound tyres, and I'm sure other people will be joining him too. Ben Klock is on the medium compound tyres on the hard side, so they're completing their one-stop strategy. But I'm sure Harry Palmer has the pace now to hunt down Phoenix and overtake him. Let's see when it is. The two boys from Manchester as we head down towards turn 4. Nothing going on so far, but you can clearly see the difference in grip between those two. Phoenix doesn't really need to fight hard. He knows the challenge is coming. There's no point trying to bob and weave about to lose time, so he knows he can just let him go because he'll have the hard compound tires later on. Maybe Harry Palmer medium compound tires may be dying out later as well in the Grand Prix. So here we are then, do these high speed corners. Look at the grip levels you can see there as Phoenix pulls the right side and he doesn't let him go as we head down towards turn 11. Will Phoenix outbrake himself? Will he go a bit deep? And he does go a bit deep. As you can see, the Harry Palmer shaping up a move on Phoenix, puts him offline in every single corner. This could bring back Bosch Evans into play, but he's too far away at the time being. The gap is 3 seconds. Phoenix does not enter the pit lane. He continues once again, extends that stint. And where is Bosch Evans? Bosch Evans is in the pit lane to get rid of his medium compound tyres. Harry Palmer now puts the pressure on. It should be easy with this move, with the DRS open, and it should be first place for him before turn 1. It is. Now the question is, where's AJ Wuhan going to rejoin? There's a McLaren who spun, and that McLaren is Mighty Atom. Where is he? There he is. Has gone for a little bit of a spin.
Yeah, unfortunately for the McLaren, and Harry Palmer, he lined it up beautifully going into the final sector and onto the main straight as well, as he has now finally taken the lead. And I can imagine that Phoenix is going to pull into the pit lane maybe at the end of this lap or a few laps soon. If he's going to stay out much longer, he will get jumped by AJ Huan, I'm quite sure, because he is going to be rapid on these new hards. He's already closing the gap down, so it's going to be interesting to see if the Ferrari is going to be able to stay in front of the Alpine, or is he going to try and stay longer onto these tires. I don't think that's going to be quite a strategy, as the beams are wearing really quickly in this stage of this race.
Phoenix needs to respond on this lap because his tyres are wearing off dramatically. He had a massive moment out of turn 9 there. AFL picked himself with a 3-second penalty. So if Phoenix doesn't want to be undercutted, he needs to pit now. He could be in close territory towards AJ Wuhan as he makes his way in the pit lane there to get rid of his medium compound tyres. Watch out for this. Again, he has to adhere to his pit lane speed limiter. Otherwise, that will be a 10-second penalty and that will definitely ruin his race. So here comes the Ferrari boys out in force in the sunshine on the hard compound tyres. Where is AJ Wuhan? He's going to make his way towards the line anytime soon. Keep an eye on the background. There's Hobbsy in the pit lane to get rid of his medium compound tyres. Where is AJ? Here he is, out of the final corner. Has the 2-lap difference made a big difference or not to get himself back in DRS range? There's the Ferrari, who's rejoined behind the Haas, and that could also be a factor in this Grand Prix too. Phoenix needs to dispatch the Haas quickly so that AJ doesn't close on his DRS.
Yeah, so he has gained a lot of time in the Ferrari. As you can see, he's right behind the Haas, but I think he's going to be able to get past on this straight. But AJ Hoon has gained some time, down to 1.1 it is. But actually not as much as I would have thought it would be if he was pitting 2 laps earlier. But now the Ferrari does get past the Haas, and now it's up to AJ to get past the Haas as quickly as possible. But it's going to be difficult, because the next section of this track is very difficult to overtake.
In the worst possible place you could catch somebody up on old tyres. I've been suffered by this before. It feels so slow when you're stuck behind somebody. It feels like an eternity being stuck behind. Look at that. You have to lift off the throttle there. You're desperate to overtake. But at the same time, he goes off the track as through the bollards, and luckily did not pick up a penalty as AJ puts himself into P3. Will that go down towards the stewards, I wonder? What's your take on that, Milan?
I think he hit the back of the Haas, which caused him to go off him, so I'm sure it will be looked into, as they did make a little bit of contact, which sent Haas off track. But look at the gap now, 1.7, 1.8. All the time he made up with that undercut has gone down the drain, because the gap's down to what it was actually before the pit lane.
So many scenarios before when you rejoin in traffic and you catch somebody in the worst place. Sometimes it can benefit you because you catch them at the right time, and then you leave them towards your rivals and you catch up in the worst place at the middle sector, whereas other people have been benefited by catching them up, overtake them quickly, and managed to pull away thanks to the guys behind, hold them up in the middle sector where the high speed corners are. But that's a massive shame for AJ. Lost a lot of time due to that, and now Bosch Evans is in the DRS range of AJ once again. So where did he rejoin? He rejoined down at P13, did Tobes, and his closest target is Diddy Fox in front of him, and 4-star 2. 4-star not having the race I would have thought in this Grand Prix, not showing what he had. Look at this. Mercedes and Red Bull make contact, and we head down. More contact. There's 3 abreast, and Clerpier is in a spin. He has ended in tears.
Yeah, 3 wide into that corner was absolutely never going to work, and it didn't, as the Red Bull sent it in between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes, and yeah, that's how it ends, as the Red Bull comes off worse in a spin. Yeah, a bit of a silly move there in the second sector.
Yeah, it reminds me, I think, back in season 9, the Mexican Grand Prix, when Harry Palmer was involved in that one as well. And the DRS is open for Bosch Evans, who goes wheel to wheel with AJ Wuhan, who puts himself into P3. I think it was season 8 or season 9 when 3 people went side by side. It could have been Indian Jesus versus Harry Palmer versus Mazzles. Yeah, I think it was those 3, because I think Mazzle lost his gearbox. No, he didn't lose his gearbox, sorry. He lost his wheel settings. He couldn't upshift or downshift. And look at this. 4-star is up into P9, maybe P8 now. Hobbs is in front of him. Hobbs just pitted 2 laps ago as we head down towards turn 1, and 4-star is not able to make a move. But we'll have DRS to the back of the Aston Martin. Hobbs gets a terrible exit, and here he is with the DRS open. Damage limitation race for 4-star. Maybe not really enjoying the Mexican Grand Prix. In the background, that's Diddy gonna go for a move. We obviously on the brakes there, as he just stays ahead of Diddy for the time being. But Diddy's lurking all at the back of him. Where could Diddy go? Diddy has to stay behind for the time being.
Exactly, and 4-star, he is on the rise in this race. Remember, he was last at the end of lap 1. He's back up into P8, but he is on 7 lap old mediums who had pitted during that virtual safety car. So he is going to have to pit again, which will unfortunately drop him back down. But he's making good progress so far in this race to get back into point scoring positions.
He is indeed, like you said, he's got to pit again. I think Diddy has lagged because I went on board with him, and his AI looks like he's taking control of his car. He's left. Unfortunately, Diddy has left the party. Sorry. Diddy has left the lobby. Oh my goodness me.
Poor choice of words there, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, we move on. But yeah, Diddy's left the session. Yeah, he's left the session, and hopefully he can get back in. Hobbsy has overtaken 4-star, puts himself up into P8. 4-star's vulnerable because here comes the Mercedes around the outside, lays the brakes, doesn't make the corner, he doesn't, but stays ahead, gets ahead of the RB. Nice move there from WeRabi. Could chase after Hobbsy, and we'll see where he'll finish up. 4-star does not have the DRS on the back, and I think his tyres may be already feeling it too. The mini compound tyres don't last that long around here in Mexico.
Yeah, beautiful move indeed, and yeah, 4-star, he is gonna have to make these tires last. I can reckon he can maybe push it to another set of softs, but I don't think he has another set of mediums, so he will have to go either softs or hards, to be honest. So it's a bit of a predicament for the VCARP. He's hanging on in P10 right now, but what will he do from the end of this race? Lap 21, and Harry Palmer, by the way, still staying out on these hards.
Yeah, he's trying to elongate that first stint as much as he can because he knows that the mini compound tyres don't last too long. A VSC has been deployed. I think an RB. A Red Bull spun around. And it is Clerpiar again, I think, unfortunately.
It is. Lost his front wing once again. In the SS, a car gone off. So the rear grip we saw during qualifying is certainly not changed for the race as well. Cars losing control in the SS, and the Red Bull once again finds the barrier. Has lost his front wing, and that's for the second time in this race we've seen a virtual safety car. That is actually very good news for Harry Palmer. Has he not already passed the pit lane? So I don't think he is going to be able to profit from that, unfortunately.
Yeah, a bit of a precarious time for a VST to come out because, yes, it may be the right pit window, maybe 1 or 2 laps later, like 23, 24, but at the same time, he's in an odd spot where the VSC could just end at any moment in time. And he'd be hoping he stays out for a little bit longer to try and get the underqual, try and get the time loss, it must be said, because the VSC, you lose about 12 seconds of time, I think, on a full pit stop rather than the actual pit stop because of the time difference. So, didn't explain that right, but here we are then. Will Harry Palmer pit? No, he does not. He stays out there. And that's why. Yeah, that's why.
He's back as well, so the VSC ended just as he was nearing the pit lane, so that's why he stayed out. So, yeah, unfortunately for him, unlucky timing there with the VSC.
So there's a Red Bull right in front of us, that's Clerpiar, so he will not be bothering Harry Palmer at all. But Phoenix has done an excellent job. Let's talk about this man, because this man has been chased down by these two behind AJ Wuhan and Bosch Evans, and he hasn't put a single foot wrong. Not what I've seen so far in this Grand Prix, and he's controlled the pace from start to now. But there's 14 laps left to go. You've got to make sure that he doesn't get a 3-second penalty, because that could always be lurking in the back of his head. But Phoenix, however, has done an incredible job to keep that gap over 1 second and not overdo it as well. AJ is right behind Bosch Evans. Then here we are then between these two. AJ has put Bosch Evans offline, and he lost a bit more time as well. The gap is 2.5, so these two are continuing their fight because they know this could be a battle for podium now. Maybe they've given up the battle for the win. This is going to be a battle for the podium because they know Harry Palmer might be involved too with a 3-second time penalty.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's going to be very interesting indeed. And Harry Palmer still staying out. No, he's not. He's pulling into the pit lane on lap 22.
So he's called it a day on these hard compound tyres. Then the safety car has not worked. A VSC came at the wrong time, and he's going to put on the medium compound tyres. He should rejoin well ahead of Ben in the Red Bull. Phoenix sets faster for the Grand Prix, and there's a Red Bull who's spun. Who is that Red Bull who's just spun there?
I don't know, actually. I didn't see anyone.
It's not a Red Bull, it's an RB. It's AFL. AJ's up to P2 now.
Oh yeah, he spun again, AFL, so he's having an absolute terrible time in this race. But yeah, Harry Palmer has come out in P4, by the way. 7.5 seconds is the gap he has to close. While Phoenix has just gained another second on AJ Hoon, and Bosch Evans, as the vehicle has retired in pit lane on lap 23 to see our first retirement in this race after 23 laps.
Yeah, that's interesting. One retirement despite multiple people spinning, but these guys are still going. KXI right behind Hobbsy. These guys are still fighting their way. Tobes has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 60.5 exactly on the mini compound tyres. He's currently down in P12 as the Haas band. Just a load so far, but he does have Cavolis on the back of him. The gap is 1.5 seconds, so he'll be looking to try to keep him out of DRS range as well. And yeah, these guys in the midfield still fighting their way with Ben at free fall. In fact, Ben has actually pulled a big gap over free fall. It's free fall downwards who are scrapping away. Leclerc PR is ahead of Ruben. The yellow flag is still out there to signal that the Red Bull driver, the RB driver, has kept in the pit lane to retire on the circuit. Here comes Bosch Evans now with the DRS wide open again as we head down towards turn 1 as he puts himself back into first place. No, second place, sorry. But AJ comes back on the outside to have the inside line, but it's so close, but Bosch Evans just stays in front.
Nice move there to get himself up into P2, and actually as he was going into turn 1, I think he was entering a yellow flag, so hence why he couldn't complete the move at the time, but mid-corner he was able to get the grip, get around the outside, and eventually get the job done. He's up at the P2, but the gap to Phoenix has grown once again, 4.4 seconds. The Ferrari is checking out of this race with 12 laps to go.
He is indeed. It's been a fantastic race so far from Phoenix. Has not put a foot wrong, and he can just chill out a bit, make sure he doesn't pick up any 3-second tables. There's no need to take any more risk because he's got that gap over 3 seconds. I think he has now, because those two have been squabbling quite a lot in this Grand Prix. But Harry Palmer is the one to watch as well. He could spoil things, can Harry Palmer, but let's find out what he could do. We know he's got a 3-second penalty, so a lot of work to do, and he'll be hoping that the top second and third can put a challenge on as well. Apologies about this. I'm trying to focus, and I'm trying to invite somebody back as well in the session.
Yeah, so the scrap between Mercedes of Bosch Evans and the Alpine of AJ Hoon continued to go on as the Alpine sends it up the inside once again into turn 1. He is going to get that position once again back into second place. Mercedes tries to hang around the outside but unable to put up a fight, so these two are just swapping positions every single lap, and that is not helping Harry Palmer at all, by the way. The gap is now grown back to over 7 seconds. So these two keep squabbling around, but they don't really lose much time to the Alpine behind, who is trying to close the gap on these mediums, but 11 laps to go and the gap is still 6.5 seconds. It's going to be very difficult.
Can Harry Palmer get his first podium this season? It's a long way from there. He needs AJ to continuously fight with Bosch Evans there. Try and put him under massive pressure. Try to make him go side by side in corners like turn 1, 2 and 2 and turn 3, maybe turn 4 as well. So slow him down and bring him in the clutches of Harry Palmer. Ben Clark, however, in P5, despite dropping backwards at the start of the Grand Prix, dropped backwards to P9. Then ever since then made his way through with some outstanding overtakes as well down the inside of 2 cars. Ben Clark is up to P5, another solid result for the Red Bull driver, so he should be happy with himself as well. And yes, he did have a great race, did he, back at the Monza Grand Prix. I don't think he did. He started down at 15, he finished in 15th place. And here comes Bosch Evans again on AJ Wuhan as he puts himself back into second place. So it was a battle for second. I'm not quite sure if Harry Palmer We'll have to see, but we're going side by side again into turn 2, and that's another tight moment there between those two. There, AJ gets on the curb at the exit of turn 3 there with a bit of lag as well, and Bosch Evans has the DRS to stay in front. Shaggy retires in the pit lane, unfortunately does the OWR driver, and that's his day done and dusted.
Unfortunately, end to his race, but these two keep fighting out. The gap is now coming down a little bit to Harry Palmer, so AJ Hoon can definitely help out his teammate here by keep fighting this Mercedes with the gap. Because let's be realistic here, they are not going to be fighting for the win, although he's having a lot of time keeping the car pointing in the right direction, AJ Hoon, at the moment, because Phoenix 6.4 seconds, gaining almost a second per lap right now.
He is indeed. Phoenix just checked out the 4-2 time penalties. Kind of Ferrari drive. Another dominant drive there for Phoenix after he was leading the Monza Grand Prix, but unfortunately he fell out of the podium. He finished in P4, did the Ferrari driver. 4-star finished in second, but 4-star today will finish in P10. He hasn't got any penalties just yet in the Grand Prix, and Diddy has sent me a phone request. Oh, I'm a bit nervous now.
Fully understandable there. What that means is he gets overtaken, by the way, by Toby's down to P12, so unfortunately losing a lot of time while being disconnected down to P12. As there is a yellow flag still for the Williams, I think that is of Shaggy, who has just retired. The gap, by the way, between the two Alpines down to 5.7. He is gaining, but he's not gaining enough right now, I think, to be able to catch them, especially with the mediums wearing out near the end of the race. So, yeah, 5.7 seconds. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off unless the two cars in front start battling like crazy once again. 9 laps to go.
Continue talking because I'm trying to get Diddy back in the session.
Alright, no worries then. So, Phoenix out in front. Almost 7 seconds, and look at that, Bosch Evans, he has created a 1 second gap to AJ Woon. AJ Woon has dropped out of DRS, out of absolutely nowhere, although the gap to his team is grown to 5 seconds, but AJ Woon 1.1. This is an opportunity for Bosch Evans to secure that second place, because he won't be under pressure at all now from AJ Woon. So it might just be a 3-4 for Alpine instead of maybe a possible 2-4 or a double podium, as the AJ Hoon trying to get back into the DRS, as he does, to be fair, with a bit of ERS usage, but he got out of DRS for a moment there. And Harry Palmer has time now as well. 5.8 is the gap, but checking out in front, 7 seconds. AJ Hoon has got back into the DRS now, so it's all safe for the Alpine boys, as the Mercedes runs a little bit wide going into turn 4 there.
Yeah, notice that Josh has been running a little bit wide in a few corners under massive pressure from AJ, so I think it's down now to these two to decide who will finish in second place in this Grand Prix. Harry Palmer, unfortunately, going for the ultra strategy hasn't worked at all from harsh mediums. There's an RB again who has gone for a spin. It's a Red Bull this time, and he's spun where I think Sebastian Vettel binned it back in 2015, I think it was, when he crashed the car. Same with Radcliffe as well. It was a double Ferrari DNF that day as well. Has caught a lot of people in the past, and it won't be the first, but it won't be the last either. He's lost the end play too for good measure. Who else crashed there in real life as well? Like, I know somebody, was it, who was that who crashed there? It happened this season. It happened this season. Somebody has crashed there this season. I can't remember who it was. Somebody crashed there this season.
I remember Magnussen crashing last year, but that was a corner later. I think during free practice, yeah, someone went off there, but was it I'm not quite sure.
Was it Charles Leclerc, I want to say? Somebody definitely crashed there. Oh, it was Russell. It was Russell.
Oh yeah, you're right, Russell indeed.
Yeah, what did he do? Did he just... Yeah, I think he just lost the car plainly, didn't he? By hitting the wall, hitting the curb too much, I think.
Looking it up right now, and... yeah, he did on the exit, but that was just one corner later into the wall as well. But loss of control in the SS. We've seen it a lot of times in this race as well. Red Bull pitting for not the first time in this race for front wing change.
Because I remember they had an extended FB2 session, didn't they? Because they wanted to do the tyre rule or tyre test.
Oh yeah, you're right. Actually, that was the that session.
So it could have been FP1 or 2, I think.
It was FP2, yeah.
What have you think about this race so far, Milan?
certainly an entertaining race, although for the fight for the win might not be there, but there's certainly a big fight for the place on the podium, as here comes AJ Hoon again, lining up a move on the Mercedes, and he gets past quite easily with the DRS, although is the Mercedes going to be able to fight back? No, he's not. AJ Hoon back up into second place.
So we've not had one safety car just yet in this Grand Prix, although another one could be spiced out because some of the guys at the back are teasing us as 3-4 is pulling out alongside Hobbsy. These two are good friends, of course, with the DRS wide open on the bright green Sauber car, puts himself way ahead of Hobbsy before turn 1 in the green Aston Martin. As we know that Hulkenberg, 3-4 was spun at Phoenix. Oh, I don't need to get too excited about that, but Phoenix has picked himself up a 3 second penalty, but it doesn't matter. But it will matter, though, if a safety car does come out. Claire PR retires in the pit lane, so no safety car, but Phoenix will be in massive danger if a safety car comes out because Bosch Evans and AJ do not have a 3 second penalty. Referencing back to Isak Kush when at the Singapore Grand Prix had a dominant drive, built up a gap over 11 seconds, and they thought he had it safe, but he had a post-race penalty towards the end because the safety car came out late and it ruined his gap, and he couldn't build that gap again when that second safety car came out, and he lost the race win towards Jeroen Visser on that day as well, a couple of seasons ago. But here we go then between Bosch Evans and AJ. Somebody I bet these two are thinking, somebody call safety car, please. It's the yellow flag zone, so we can't overtake, and he needs to give that place back. We're entering the green flag now, and Bosch Evans puts himself into P2 just before the yellow flag green flag was deployed.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're just going to be waiting to get that safety car out. That's the only chance they have, to be honest, to win this race. But yeah, Phoenix is going to be very anxious from seeing any yellow flags in this race, thinking it could be a safety car. 5 laps to go, but there is still very much a possibility. So he's going to have to hold on and hope for the best. The Ferrari driver's been doing an absolutely dominant drive so far. Phenomenal display so far in this race. 5 laps to go, 9 seconds. He can bring it home on pure pace. Just have to hope there's no safety car out there.
Indeed. And KXI has put it there to get the fastest lap bonus point. And let's see then if he gets it. The fastest lap, I think, is a 16.5 as Hobbsy has overtaken 3-4, puts himself into P6 as he gets a massive snap as well to the exit of turn 6. It is a 16.5. I do remember it was Tobes who set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He still got it. So I think KXI will defeat that. And we'll see them with 4 laps left to go. I think Phoenix needs to get towards lap 34 to make sure a safety car does not come out.
Yeah, you're right there. There's a window in this game where the safety car cannot come out, and it is indeed 2 laps before the end. So just 3 more laps, or 2 more laps of surviving for Phoenix, just doing what he has been doing all race long, and then he is probably safe till the end of the race. Don't want to jinx it, of course, as Bosch Evans all out of shape once again. And now he's under pressure from AJ Hoon, is going to try and go the long way around the outside.
He puts himself into P2, does AJ, but the question is now, as 3-4 gets ahead of Hobbsy, the question is, who is going to finish in P2 towards the Grand Prix? Will it be Bosch or will it be AJ? But it'll be another solid result for both of them again in their championship aspirations. 3-4 spun at the exit of turn 2, that is. It keeps the car pointing in the right direction. Also, Hobbsy has a mistake. I think those two make contact because Hobbsy is slowing down, I think, to let AJ or let 3-4 catch up again. Well, he was slowing down, but he's not letting him go. So I wonder if those two had a slight moment there out of turn 2. Maybe 3-4 told Hobbs to keep going because they're all deployed together.
I'm sure they probably made contact then with each other, and that is a massive advantage there for Wee Rabbi. He's taken both of the positions. He's up into P6, but yeah, I think a bit of a coming together there between the Aston Martin F15 and the Kicksauer of Hobbsy and Firewall. P7 and 8 right now, but Firewall has got no penalty, so he will still be able to get that P6 on track, I believe.
Clepiar has left the session. We've got 3 DNFs in this Grand Prix. All 3 of them have retired in the pit lane. Only 1 VSC so far. Hasn't really changed much in the Grand Prix either. So no safety car or virtual safety car to decide this race. I'll put an influence on it. But the battle for P2 is still going on between Bosch Evans and AJ Wuhan. It's going to be very interesting to see which one of these two come out on top. It's Bosch Evans. Well, they're both going to finish at the podium, but what order? They're looking for their second podium in a row. Is Bosch Evans and AJ Wuhan. Maybe their third podium in a row as well, because AJ finished on the podium in Singapore. Also back at the Monza Grand Prix and here in Mexico. AJ's been on great form recently after a downhill period in the last season as well, after getting demoted down to Div 2. He's still in Div 2, but he's got much more better pace than he did last time round. Here we are then. Bosch Evans just trying to force the pressure on AJ Wuhan. But I think it's safe to say that the race was lost between these two on lap 2 when they went side by side. Do you think, Milan? In turn 1, 2,
absolutely.
turn 2, 3.
They lost all of their time there trying to get in ahead of each other, which lost them the time to Phoenix growing above 1 second, and getting that gap down just didn't really. They weren't able to pull it off, and now they're stuck with each other trying to fight for the second place in this race as Phoenix is completely checked out. But yeah, it's going to be a matter of who is going to be behind on the final lap, because you have 2 DRS zones, so if you're behind you have the massive advantage of getting position. So I think Bosch Evans will want to stay behind until the beginning of lap 36, so he can try and overtake AJ Hoon for that second place.
For in front of us, but hopefully he gets out of the way. That is Diddy in the way. I tried to invite him to the session, but unfortunately it won't happen. And Laura, is in the chat, Josh's partner. Oh, look at this, side by side, all 3 of them here. Hobbsy versus B-Rabbit and 3-4. Hobbsy going around the outside. There's a yellow flag down there again. I'm not quite sure who that is this time, as Rabbit gets swamped on the straight because 3-4 and Hobbsy has DRS. 3-4 slots into P7 just behind Matthew Hobbs there, but Laura will be cheering her man on. Bosch Evans to go after AJ Wuhan and overtake him for P2, and we'll see what happens. There is 2 laps left to go in this race. The battle of the lead may not be happening, but the battle for the podium for P2 and P3 is still waging on. Harry Palmer has got nothing left to respond anymore. The gap is 8.1, and that's his race ruined, unfortunately for him. We'll stay in P4, and here comes Bosch Evans. They're not going to go for it just yet. He's going to wait for the last lap of the Grand Prix for the DRS, as we all do, playing tactically here in this race to try and secure P2.
Exactly what I was thinking was going to happen, although he just wants to stay behind. So we might see a bit of DRS chicken at the end of this lap into the stadium section, trying to get behind of each other. So that's going to be very interesting to see. But yeah, he is indeed staying behind, so he has the advantage onto the final lap. It's going to be very, very interesting between these two.
Phoenix, 1 more lap left to go for him. The gap he's built is over 12.8. There's a McLaren in the wall, and that is KXI, who has binned it, unfortunately for him. And that's where George Hargreaves crashed all those seasons ago when he was leading the sprint race, and when Mazzles had gear pad shift issues with his steering wheel and couldn't change gear, which lost him in the race. So George Hargreaves and Mazzles, who both sustained problems. And Hobbsy in 3-4 fights it again. 3-4 is ahead of B-Rabbit, who gets ahead of Hobbsy. So Hobbsy has lost 2 places there. 3-4 does not have a 3-ticket advantage, so very consistent drive for him so far. But all eyes between second and third, because the DRS is wide open. AJ has no response because Bosch Evans is so close behind. DRS enabled, the overspeed, the overtake button, pulls the right hand side, goes down the inside into 1, but AJ's fighting back on the inside. Bosch Evans coming off the outside line, converted to the inside, bit of contact too between these two, but Bosch Evans gets ahead, stays ahead with the DRS wide open. There's no way that AJ can get this back now unless he tries to send it down the inside of turn 4, but he's way too far back, and Bosch Evans there takes P2 away, and that should secure him that spot. But all eyes to the front of the field. This man, FL Phoenix, who led from start to finish like he did at the Singapore Grand Prix. Glory going his way once again. Maybe not at the Monza Grand Prix when he fell his misfortunes, but here we are. AJ gets a 3-second penalty at the latter stage in this race. But this man, Phoenix, comes towards the final 2 corners. An ACC driver, now can call himself a multiple-time race winner here in the CRL. It's his 2nd win of the season. His 2nd win in CRL. Phoenix wins the Mexican Grand Prix. What a fantastic drive from the man from Manchester. Fantastic. Hobbsy gets ahead of Wee-Rabby. And here comes Bosch Evans to finish in P2 to try and boost up his championship aspirations against 4-star and AJ Wuhan. AJ Jacob finishes a P3 ahead of his RP teammate Harry Palmer, who's been alone in the second stint of his race. Ben Clark, well, ever since he made that overtake on 2 of those guys, he managed to pull himself away from them, break the DRS. He's been by himself as well. Here comes Ben, comes across the line to finish in P5. Another stunning result for the OWR driver. And Hobbsy will not finish in P6 because he does have a 3-second penalty. I think that'll belong to Freefall, who boosted himself up towards P6. But nevertheless, it was a great scrap to watch between all these guys. And it's what a race this was to return back after a 2-week absence due to the winter break and winter holidays. It's not been the race we wanted, but still got some good action, and hopefully the next upcoming races will be good as well.
Absolutely, a brilliant drive there from Phoenix. Flawless from start to finish. Also, very well planned from Bosch Evans going onto the final lap to secure that second place. Although in the end, AJ Hoon got that 3-second penalty, so it didn't really matter. But you still need to be there on that final lap, and he got it done. So a very good race, and very well done to Phoenix. What a drive!
And these guys will be joining the podium interviews as well. By the way, guys, because there's been no safety car, and because I wasn't able to go on the formation lap, I'm going to go for a piss, so I'll be right back. Just bear with me. Yeah, tell these guys, unless of course, Milan, you want to start the interviews? I'll give it over to you.
Sure thing.
I'll hand it over to you, mate.
Thank you very much. All right. Are we here yet? Who am I talking to?
It's AJ here. AJ1.
AJ, right. Very well done in the end. Unfortunately, with that 3-second time penalty, although already lost that position on the final lap, it was all about that DRS though on the final lap, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I thought I had enough DRS to kind of fend him off, but no, he had good pace for the whole race and kept with me. And yeah, he did a good job, and he deserved P2 in the end. I was lucky. I was really unlucky not to get DRS off the back marker on the final option, but it was probably fair because Josh had a similar situation earlier in the race. It could have really helped him. So ultimately, it was a decent outcome, I think, for both of us. I think it kind of reflected our pace ultimately. Yeah,
very good race indeed on the podium as well. But take us through your race then, because you lost out on the DRS to Phoenix early on in the race, which probably limited you to fighting for P2 in the end. But yeah, that's where you probably lost the race win. But in the end, still a good result. So talk us through how it went for you.
Yeah, I mean, I planned to go medium hard since if there was a safety car early on. The mediums were pretty bad near the end, so I pit early by a couple laps because I was hearing from a teammate, Harry, about how good the hards were doing. So I thought, well, I'd rather have the better tyres on lower fuel for longer. So I kind of tried to undercut, and that gave me a bit of position back against Josh, and it kind of just from then on there was no chance of catching Phoenix. So we just kind of I think we kind of knew from that point that it was just going to be a last lap kind of battle. There were a couple of moments I think for myself where I nearly lost the rear end, but I think ultimately it was set in stone how it was going to end, with one of us kind of waiting behind the other for a few laps, and I would have done the same. So no hard feelings against him at all.
Yeah, well done in the end on the podium. So thank you very much, AJ, who won P3 in this race. Thank you very much. All right, moving over then to Bosch Evans there. Well done on P2, securing that podium, that second place on the final lap. Let's talk us through your race.
Yeah, it's good. It's a tough track. Mexico is just like there's not like the only option you've got to calm down and rest your head is on the main straight. But my whole race I was just DRSing with Jacob, so I didn't really have the main straight to calm down at all either. My goal for this race was I was to use high gears for the tyre wear, so I wasn't revving out too much everywhere, and to race at 80% and just not get any warnings. And I didn't get a single warning, which I was very happy. That's mostly what I'm happy with, because Mexico is a pain in the ass for warnings.
Yeah, absolutely. And also talk us through how difficult is it to build a gap to over a second. We saw you try a few times in this race trying to get that gap above 1 second, and for a brief moment you actually managed to do so, but in the end it did come down. Just how difficult is it?
No, it's down to the ERS usage it is, because ERS is so bipolar around Mexico. So there'll be some corners where you can gain 30%, but because of the length of the straights and stuff, you don't have a chance to hold it. So the only time I had chance to hold ERS was in the last few laps of the race, where I purposely stayed behind Jacob to keep a bit of battery and then make my move on the last lap. Luckily, not luckily, but thank God, the AJ didn't get DRS off the stupid back marker that it spun, because I'd waited like 4 laps to overtake him on that exact straight on lap 35, going into lap 36. And if he would have got ERS there, then I would have been screwed a little bit. I think I had enough in the tank to take him on the last DRS straight anyway, but ideally I want it to be ahead before then. But yeah, it's really tricky. ERS is just like you cannot hold it if you're in your own slipstream. You can't do anything unless you're following.
Absolutely, yeah, very close indeed in the end, and great move in the end to get that second place on the final lap, even though AJ got that 3-second penalty, but you got the job done. Second place in the end, I'm sure you're all pretty happy with that, pretty satisfied. Well done on that race, well done on second place, thank you very much.
Cheers. And by the way, James 4-star, I'm coming for you. You might not be on the podium this time, but you're still in my mind, and I'm still gonna fucking wallop you. See you next week, yeah?
Yeah, have a good one.
Moving on to FOL Phoenix then. Phoenix, are you there, mate?
Yo.
Hello, mate. Well, what can I say about you? So, your second dominant race, Singapore and Mexico. Talk us through your race, mate. We should try to keep that gap over. As soon as that gap went over 1 second, when AJ and Josh Evans were just fighting in turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, you saw that gap go over 1 second and right. Do you think, right, let's keep this gap over 1 second and try and control it from here?
Well, I mean, I got very lucky with the getting out of the 1 second range because it was very important, but it came at a cost of using lots of ERS. So, like Josh said before, the ERS was very important, and I was basically on really low ERS for most of the first stint. And Josh had very decent tyre wear. They were slinging each other. Josh, well, that was Bosch Evans, Harry, and AJ, but they didn't get too far, so luckily they kept that second, and that second came to 2 seconds. Then it went to 3, and then they both boxed, so I got the overcut of, well, I had the chance to go longer for the hards, and then from then on it was just better.
Were you a bit nervous when those two were slingshotting each other from Bosch Evans and Bosch Evans, Harry Palmer, and AJ? Were you a bit nervous that those guys trying to get under DRS?
Well, I mean, yeah, at first I was, but they didn't really gain that much time until the hard tyres were better than the mediums, because the medium tyre wear was terrible through there. So when Harry got past them both, he caught me and overtook me, and then I tried to use his DRS, but it was only for the second DRS straight, so didn't gain that much time.
The gap continuously extended, so you had nothing to worry about there, even though you did pick up a 3-second penalty. But yeah, there's not much really left to say in this race. How tricky was it today? Even though you're leading the Grand Prix, how difficult is it to manage the tyres around here? Because when they start to wear out, they do go, and it's very hard to control the side of the car. Because we saw it on you when you were on the mini compound tyres on the hards. The car was just sliding around quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the mediums felt bad after about 5 laps. Well, not bad, but they were sliding all over the place. Like the S section, I was losing the rear quite a lot. But when the hard came on, they were really, really good. I mean, with only like 5 laps to go, I was struggling a bit. But the hard tyres were a lot better. As a race tyre, I would personally say, but not to start on, because Harry lost out big time. From going hard to mediums.
It was a difficult start to the season for you, Phoenix, but Josh Evans says he's going after James 4-star. But you, Jake, do you think you can have to go after the both of them as well? Because I think you're really in the hunt for the championship out between you, Bosch Evans, and 4-star as well. Jake, Josh, and James. Wow, triple J's.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I need to keep up this form that I've got going at the minute. I had a really dominant race in Singapore as well, so let's hope I can continue this next race. I don't know what
James
race
or
it is.
Jake, I don't care who it is, but they're going to finish behind me. End of this season, they're going to be looking at my ass. Okay? This is my championship. I turn up on a Monday. I do what I do. I might finish 4th and 3rd here and there, but over a season, consistency is key. And these two have been having a nice view of my ass. Do you like that, Jake? What do you think of that, Jake?
I will win.
I've got confidence. Say, I will win.
I will win, yeah. I will win. It's Canada next, so I'm going to get
fucking
6 penalties from
charisma, son. I will win.
I will win.
We'll be racing next week. You'll have to help your girlfriend build her Lego again, or some silly excuse like that.
Yeah, I'll get loads of penalties. It's Canada. I don't like Canada.
I love Canada.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah.
I'll win
So
though.
what? If just do well enough so you can be in the interviews with me next week, and then Jake, and we can carry on this
Okay.
conversation.
Okay. What? Me on the top step?
Well, wherever it is, you're never going to be on the top step when it comes to counting up the scores at the end of it.
Oh well. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close to you right now.
Okay.
You don't even want to race yet, I don't think. No.
The only thing you're close to is a walloping from your missus for being on your PlayStation for too long. So maybe we should wrap up the interview so Jake don't get any ear clip in.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I say we carry this on in a
Milan.
minute.
Milan,
Yeah.
you got a question for Jake?
I'll just well done. All I can say, phenomenal ride.
Thank you.
Do you want to continue?
Well done. We move.
We were in a race of our own though compared to the rest of the field. The group, the five of us. So let's hopefully we can continue that next race.
Well, I hope it's a thrilling championship happens with you guys. Josh, I hope you keep your word, and we'll keep you to it as well.
Yeah, keep me to my word, it's all that matters.
But anyways, we'll round off the stream here at the Mexican Grand Prix after a 2-week break for Christmas and New Year. Milan, thank you so much for commentating with me. It's been an absolute pleasure to have your comments with me again.
Thank you for having me. I
You're welcome.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
You're welcome, mate. Hope to have you alongside me even more because that's an enjoyable ride between us two.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I hope that as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you all for the Canadian Grand Prix for round 6. The rivalry continues between all three of them. We'll see you all later. Have a goodbye. Well, have a good night. Goodbye for now.